your mid-20s and 18 is a big difference, and I didn't realize that for a long time. Everyone makes this experience. Because I realized that everyone made this experience, I looked for a question that doesn't seem too offensive so I can benefit off the experiences other people made. So the question I usually ask, like all the way from 19 to where I'm at right now in life, is what advice would you give yourself at age 18? Because, little fun fact, this is not what the video is about, but people usually like talking more than listening, especially when they feel like they say something of value. And that is totally fine, that is good, and you can use that to your advantage. But this is not about communication. This is about the 10 best tips I got asking this question. Tip number 1 is a tip everyone heard, but nobody tells us how we do it. It's get to know yourself. When you're 18, there's a big focus on what you can do, what you should do now. You can drive a car most of the time, you can buy alcohol, you can sign contracts, you can open a bank account, all that. You don't need your parents for that anymore. And what you should do is like get a job, get an education, find friends, find a partner. But the thing that I heard most of the time is get to know yourself and have experiences. Because we get to do all these things, or we are allowed to do these things, it feels like we should just go for that. And like, okay, now you're a human in society and you can, everything is open to you now. And we assume that we know ourselves and that we're like these done personalities. But if you think about it, up until that point, you always had to be dependent on others. You always had to do what you've been told. You had to go to school, do this, think that, pass your exam here, clean your room then. So 18 should not be the point where you enter society, but where you explore society on your own. And getting to know yourself, to me, or for me, I believe that you should do something extreme. I'm not saying that you should go like into extreme political groups or whatever. Actually, an older woman that I asked on the train said, yeah, that's my tip for you at your age. Don't get lost in extreme political ideologies. But it means make experiences where you know that you will feel bad or insecure. Why does that make sense? Because that builds character. Going against adversity will build your character. I'm sure of that. And some people are more prone to live more comfortable lives and other people are more adventurous. But I'm sure that everyone should confront themselves on their own terms with something that they know they won't like, where they think that it will be hard for them to endure that. That may be going on a trip by yourself, challenging yourself to get to know new people on your terms and actively seeking out social contacts. That may be starting a YouTube channel, talking to a camera, exposing yourself to the world on the internet. That may be switching up your style. If you're like, I don't know what to do with myself, do something crazy. The second point is kind of your safety net and your goalpost at the same time. Second tip is find your Polaris. So find your North Star, find the direction you're moving towards. So even if you do something crazy, you have no plan, I would give the advice that you should find the direction that you can fall back on if you don't find anything on your journey for self-reflection. This could be an apprenticeship, your birthday, some date, with something specific. Choose 1 year, 2 years to kind of actively get to know yourself, and then you say, after these 2 years on this date I will start my studies in, or I will start my apprenticeship as, or I will move to city XYZ. If you just say, oh, I'm getting to know myself, nobody will tell you when that ends. Just like nobody can tell you what you have to do, what you should do when you turn 18, nobody will tell you, now you know yourself. And it's a process, okay? I'm like in my mid-20s, I don't know myself. I would say better than others, but I'm not 100% there because it's hard, okay? And we change and our circumstances change. But find your Polaris, find something you're heading towards if everything fails and if there's no spark of inspiration. Because the way I told it in the first tip was like, okay, you go on this journey to get to know yourself and then everything will be all right. But sometimes you just do stuff and you don't instantly know what it did to you or what you feel or how you changed. So having something that you can fall back on will give you kind of this sense of calmness while being on an adventure that you will get to turn back and then have something waiting for you. Find something you can go back to if inspiration doesn't hit while finding yourself. The third thing is very important and something we don't get taught because it is scary for people around us that care about us and for ourselves, and that is learn to be alone. First of all, loneliness and being alone is not the same thing. We will talk about that in the future, but most of the time as an adult human, you will be by yourself and you will be alone. I'm not trying to scare you, that's just the way it is. You make decisions for and by yourself. That will be not as present if you have a partner, if you live with family, but most of the time in life is spent alone. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing, it's just the way it is. Whether it's a bad thing or not is how we look at it and how we choose to deal with that. Just like I said in the beginning, until you're 18, you always have your parents around you. You have your caretaker around you. You have adults around you and friends around you that give you this sense of belonging. But when you turn 18 and school's over, your parents can only tell you so much. You can only depend on your parents so much because they got their own life. They spend like 18 to 20 years, 21 years, whatever, caring about you. But they did that so you can stand on your own 2 feet. So find a way to deal with being alone. Some people enjoy it. Introverts like to be alone, usually. Some people feel super lonely as soon as nobody's around. If you did the first step and you know yourself and you're kind of not overwhelmed with being by yourself, then the third step is only a minor step. But if you know yourself, you should also realize that you have to spend time with this person for like the rest of your life. Yeah, good luck with that. But if you master being alone, then that's a superpower. It is harder for other people to take control over you or to build dependencies that are toxic for you or that make you weak. And if you're strong on your own, you're unbeatable in a team because you know who you are, what you can do by yourself and what you need others for or what others need you for. Okay, number 4 is my personal favorite and is another superpower. This is one of the things, if you learn this, you're instantly better than like 30%, 50% of people. Learn to communicate. Communication is key. That's like the phrase everyone knows, but communication is really key. If you know how to communicate, if you're charismatic, if you can express how you feel to others, if you can express ideas that you have in a manner where other people understand it and other people are touched by what you say, then that is a superpower in every context. In every context, you will be better off. Learning to communicate is not only talking, is not only being the center of attention all the time. Learning how to communicate is also knowing what your standing is in a certain situation. It is also learning when to be silent and when to speak. And communicating is also understanding yourself. I know it sounds like I'm just taking the first point and hammering it home over and over again, but that's really what it is. If you know what you can do, what you know, what your vocabulary is, how you seem to other people, appear to other people, then you can communicate better because it is authentic, and that's the most important thing. Seeming authentic, being authentic. Be attentive. The people that you find charismatic, see what they do. Are they funny? Are they a good listener? How do they dress themselves? What are their mannerisms? What are people that we as society find charismatic? Read books and actively read them. Understand a sentence. Watch movies and actually listen. If people interact and talk, ask yourself, is this how we talk in real life? Why is this funny? What's the role of this character? In social groups, what role is everyone taking? It is also very beneficial to yourself being able to communicate, because you won't build up negative emotions inside of yourself. If you know how to express how you feel and what you're going through, and you are able to write that down, transform that into art, communicate it to your partner, your relationship with yourself and with others will improve. Don't let these feelings get stuck inside of yourself, and don't let ideas just be vague ideas, but make it concrete through language. Ludwig Wittgenstein, a philosopher, even said, the boundaries of my speech, of my words, of my language are the boundaries of my world. Learn how to communicate, biggest superpower. The next tip may sound weird to some people. Do not be afraid to be unique or weird. I know that we live in a society as humans, and society is a great thing because it is beneficial to all of us. As a society, we can provide way more value to the individual than the individual could do by itself. If we have a society of individuals that don't realize that they are an individual and that they are special, we will wait for people that act like they are special or more special than others, and we will turn towards these single people that will lead our society. And that is a concept, but usually I feel like we're better off with more unique people that can express themselves and are not scared to express themselves. We acknowledge that there are cases where we have to fit a description or just do what we're told. And I totally see that. The thing is with being unique, if you just say, okay, I'm going to be unique, that doesn't mean that you're unique or that you're something special or that you bring something new to the table. And if you realize that you can't just say that, or you don't have people telling you that, reflecting it back to you, then maybe you should find something that makes you special, or learn something that makes you special, to provide a value to yourself, to your self-esteem, and to others. My next point is kind of similar to that, and it's everything you do, do it with conviction. Act with conviction. In most cases, acting bold, acting sure of yourself is enough, because many people don't make a difference between actually knowing something and acting like you know something. This is the whole fake it till you make it mentality. Acting bold also puts us in a perspective where we can actually start a dialogue. If no one is bold and there is no first move, there is nothing we can build an antithesis to. So if you're bold, you go into a room and you say, this is how we're gonna do it, this is my take. I stand for this. And then the next person can go, that's a nice idea, but here's my idea. Let's find the synthesis of that. The philosopher Hegel kind of turned me towards this, just because there is like a thesis and an antithesis, and then there's a synthesis that is neither, but both combined, doesn't mean that you shouldn't have a thesis in the first place. Because if you don't have your opinion, your bold opinion in the first place, that somebody else can negate, there will be no progress. Be bold doesn't mean be overly confident, be annoying and think that you know everything better than everyone else. If you thought about something, trust yourself with that decision and say, okay, I know this may be wrong, but up until this point where I thought this through, this is where I'm at, this is what I'm standing for. The next tip is do not be a people pleaser. This doesn't mean not having base level courtesy. I believe in being nice, sharing a smile, looking into each other's eyes when talking, but I do not believe in being a people pleaser in the case where the thoughts and emotions of other people that you do not care about, that you will not spend your time with in your life, kind of going back to being alone all the time, has an impact on your actions. You see, being a people pleaser, people see it like as a quirky attribute.
Oh, I just can't help myself. I'm just a people pleaser. That's who I am.
And then they want applause for being so nice. To me, I don't see any benefit in that. Because being pleasing to be around, being a good communicator, being charismatic, being courteous, that's one thing. But being a people pleaser is actually putting your whole self into the service of others just to be liked and seen as somebody nice. But if somebody would tell me, oh, the thing I like about you is that you are nice, that would be an insult to me, because being nice, being base level courteous, having base level courtesy should be a thing that everyone can provide. It's not anything special, and this is very important that this comes through. Being nice and courteous is not a character attribute that we should assign to some and others don't have that. That's something we should all strive for. Because I believe, and some people might not agree with this, living a self-determined life, true to yourself, is more important than like this short-term feeling of being liked by everyone. Quick reality check. There are people on this earth that will not like you no matter what you do. Okay, last 3 tips, here we go. Find the line between universal laws and personal freedom. There are some things that are just a matter of fact. Pills that are hard to swallow, but as soon as you swallow them, you will be more empowered. Things like pretty privilege is real. Affection is subjective and emotional and cannot be controlled. Stuff like that. And as soon as you realize that, personal freedom starts. There are multiple ways how to deal with things in reality that you don't like, but the 3 overarching actions that you can take is avoidance. So avoid the thing that is a matter of fact that you dislike, that you can deal with. The other one is exploitation, with the example of pretty privilege, where it would be, I understand that people that appear attractive to the mainstream get more chances. You could exploit that in a way where you say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to look the way everyone wants me to look, to exploit it. And the third one is activism, and say, okay, what is like a natural law and what is just like a societal thing that we have for hundreds of years. Maybe I can change this. Next, superpower after communication. Fail and learn to love it. This one for me is the hardest. I still struggle with this one the most. Failing and not seeing it as failure, but a learning, an opportunity, kind of the result of you being active and looking for answers. This doesn't mean setting yourself up for failure, never expecting winning, but not seeing failure or losing as something that is something bad. Because winning wouldn't be worth anything if you couldn't fail. And if you fail, keep calm and know why you failed. You won't fail the next time. I know this might seem obvious, but to me it wasn't for the longest time. I'm basically describing the process of learning here. Looking for challenges, going for the win, but also not being slowed down by losing is a superpower. You will just try new things and win over and over again until you fail and turn it into a win again. This is for me very hard because I'm a very prideful person. I'm kind of too prideful to ask for help sometimes, and I always ask myself why I didn't do it perfectly the first time. But that's just unrealistic, so I'm still learning with you right now. I'm sharing this so I don't feel as alone in my endeavor. And because I know that other people feel alone in this endeavor of figuring out your life. And I want to help you architect it. And if you want to be on this journey with me, or don't feel alone in you trying to figure yourself and this thing called life out, consider subscribing. I'll be here providing things to think about and challenges to overcome, healthy challenges. So, superpower number 1, communicating. Superpower number 2, failing and seeing it as a chance to grow. And the last one, but emotionally speaking, the most important one is care about art. We live in times where we have content, where if we see a creative endeavor, that is content, something to entertain us. One function of art, no doubt, is entertainment, but it's not just that. Art is the expression of humans, of their emotions, what they are, what they feel, their fears, their hopes. And just seeing that as entertainment purposes dehumanizes others and their work. And it also dehumanizes yourself, because we generally right now lack empathy when consuming media and art or content or whatever you want to call it, because we only see it as something to pass the time, to make us feel some type of way. I feel like most people do not feel like they have to work for their entertainment or the feelings they get out of art. If you care about art, if you try to understand why somebody made the paint stroke the way they did, if you think about why my shot looks like this, think about why you clicked on this video or any other video. Take the time to read a book from front to back and ask yourself, did I enjoy this? Why did I enjoy it? You will learn more about others, about yourself, and have the opportunity to live multiple lives. Consuming art speaks to the heart and to the head at the same time. There's nothing else like it, and I feel like if you only see it as entertainment, you're missing out big time. And the world is also missing out big time if you don't communicate how you feel about the things you consume. Go to an exhibition near you, watch YouTube videos that are artsy and where people obviously put effort into them. Care about art and care about yourself. Thank you for sticking around up until this point. I hope you learned something. I did. Hope to see you in the next video, and let's grow together in the future.